The wish of every freelancer is to create an impression as soon as a client opens their proposal. However, the biggest challenge is to make that impression stick. I mean, think about it. You can create an impression, but how do you actually maintain that impression? How do you make that impression stick until the client hands over the job to you? Just imagine you working on Upwork. This is a very competitive platform. All of us know that if you are a freelancer on Upwork, or maybe you are a newcomer to the platform, you already know that this platform is very, very competitive. You have people with different qualifications. They have different experience level. All right. Basically, it comes down to certain things that you have to know, or you have to be able to do, or you have to understand how to do. All right. So this is the reason for this video. I want to tell you the three things that you need to do, or at least you need to know, to create a very positive impression, but not just to create the impression, but to make sure the impression sticks. And let me tell you, this is not about your qualification, or how good is your proposal, or maybe how technical you are, or how good looking you are. No, there are actually three features on Upwork. If you know how to use these features very well, they can help you to create a very positive impression, not just a positive impression, but you can make the impression actually stick. When a client sees your proposal, they should be able to get an impression, a very positive impression that already gives you like a step ahead of the competition. All right. If you see on the screen right now, you will see how these clients already expressed admiration for my application, right? I have not spoken to him. I have not said anything, but he must have seen certain things that has impressed him. And that is what I want to talk to you about. And I really want you to pay attention, because breaking through the competition is the biggest challenge that freelancers have on Upwork. Most times, freelancers try to do all sort of things. Some people use different strategies, like for instance, they will reduce their rates. Some people try to apply to every job. Some people will try to do all sort of, like, they will even tend to beg the clients to just hire them just because they want to get ahead of the competition. But guys, let me tell you, if you are a professional freelancer and you really want to make a difference on Upwork, I want you to listen to me carefully as I'm going to list some of these things. All right. And then you can beat any competitor just by creating the right kind of impression. Not just creating impression, but creating the right kind of impression and making sure that impression sticks. Number one is to have a well structured profile. Now, there is a video that I've already created where I talked about the profile. I went deep into how to create a structured profile. What are the different components that you have to make sure they are there on your profile? Don't make a scanty profile. Avoid making a scanty profile. Make sure your profile is rich, and very rich at that, so that when a client sees you, and if they are comparing you with other freelancers, they should see a very distinct difference between you and other freelancers, and let them know that you are a professional and you are an expert. You have to write your profile like an expert. That's one thing. A very solid and well structured profile can give a very lasting impression in the mind of a client, and it can even get you hired without even you applying for a job. Second, having very solid feedback. Now, most people, most freelancers think that just getting the job, that is it. Especially if you are trying to grow on the platform. Don't just focus on getting the job and then walking away from the client. Work with clients in such a way that you try to entice them. I mean, try to encourage them to give you the kind of feedback that will propel your career. How do you do this? There are certain things that you have to look for. Sometimes the contract comes to an end because of mutual agreements. Maybe you've done the job and then the contract has come to an end. You can politely ask the client and tell them to leave you a feedback. Sometimes you can even suggest the way you want the feedback to be left, right? By politely asking them, can you please leave me a very positive feedback? I would appreciate if you can write the feedback in this way. Send that to the client. Just put together the feedback that you are expecting and send it to the client. Some clients don't have time to write feedback for you, right? You can do that. Or you can simply ask them with a very polite tone, with a very professional tone that, can you please leave me a very positive feedback? I'll do the same for you. Clients normally want to promote you because they also know that the feedback you are leaving for them is also impacting them. Because definitely for me, I don't work for clients that have very negative feedback. If their feedback is really negative from freelancers, I don't go for those clients. And they know this. Clients know that negative feedback also impact them negatively because professional freelancers don't want to work for bad behaved clients, right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. So basically you can ask politely and they can leave you. Don't just walk away. And another thing that I see most freelancers do, they missed on certain opportunities to get very positive feedback on is they have jobs, they know the jobs have come to an end, they don't request for feedback. They just leave the jobs hanging there. It affects your job success score, and then it also puts you in a very bad position wherein you have this job hanging there as if you are busy when actually you are not working on that job. Just ask the client, can we please end this contract? So if you have other job for me next time, just call upon me. I'll be available. You understand? So ask them to give you the solid feedback. Make sure you work for it upfront, right? And then the last part is having a solid portfolio. Now, let's think about this. When a client is looking at your profile or is looking at your proposal, and the way Upwork designed their proposal or the way Upwork designed the client's view for your proposal is basically joined with your profile. And and in that profile, you have your portfolio, right? Yes. So I've seen freelancers who spend a lot of time developing their profile and also developing or learning how to write proposals. And then they leave their portfolio just like that. They just write their portfolio anyhow. Your portfolio is one of those things that actually tells the client that you know what you're doing. That's the only proof that the client has at that moment to assess your skill sets. That's why you should spend more time on your portfolio rather than any other components in your proposal, right? So what do? You have to sit down, think about a project that you've worked on. What is your contribution that you've put in on that particular project? What role did you play? What did you do? How did you help the project to move forward? you know put those specific things, be very specific. And then if you need visual, for instance, if you are a designer, you can put very appropriate visuals to represent that particular product that you worked on. This is really, really important. If your portfolio is really, really strong and it's dope the way it's supposed to be, you don't need to convince a client too much. And sometimes in proposals, you don't even need to write too much. You just need to attach those links so that the client will go and see what you have done, your experience. And that speaks louder than whatever grammar you can write in your proposal, guys. This is really important. So those three things, let me repeat: a solid profile, a solid feedback, combined with a very structured and professionally written portfolio, can create the impression, like a positive impression that sticks with the client, that makes the client feel very confident that you are able to do their job. So if you can master these three things, and you know that these three things are combined in deciding whether you are fit for a job or not, then you will spend the time to actually optimize this. And I want to encourage you, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, if you have a job or not, whether you are a new freelancer, if you are a new freelancer, of course, you don't have feedback on your profile right now, then work on your profile and work on your portfolio. Make sure they are strong and they are solid. Then you see how you start getting those interviews. You start getting invites for interviews, and then you change your career basically. All right. So thank you guys. See you in the next one.